Hi, I'm Stephanie Jens, and this is my professional disposition video. As a special education teacher, their role is to work with students with disabilities in the classroom to ensure they have access to the general curriculum. They provide classroom instructional programs that support the individual needs of all children with IEPs. They are regularly assessing students and monitoring their progress, and they ensure that students receive services and accommodations described in their IEP. They special education teachers also I conduct and update IEPs throughout the year. They often are the ones conducting the initial evaluations for students being classified for the first time. And they also participate in triannual evaluations to determine if a student's classification needs modification. The role of the general ed teacher is to collaborate with the special education teacher. So both the general ed teacher and the special education teacher collaborate together to support the students in their ICT classrooms. The general education teacher is responsible for teaching to teach the general curriculum to all students in the classroom, and they create lesson plans to teach those subjects. They evaluate student progress through assessments such as tests and writing samples. They and they are and they prepare with the special education teacher prepare the classroom setting. They monitor and engage with students in the class and enforce school policies. And like the special education teacher, they track student progress and evaluations of student performance to modify instruction and increase student productivity. The dispositions I currently possess, I wrote a few of them down, are high expectations. So I believe that we should have high expectations for ourselves and for our students, especially our students who have IEPs. A lot of the times they have this self-fulfilling prophecy, which they think that because they are not as great at reading as other students, that they might not be smart or they can't do certain things. And I think when you have high expectations of all your students, I a lot of the times those students meet those expectations. And high expectations can look differently to each individual student. And I think also having high expectations of yourself is very important. It might mean that you create this video 1,000 times until you feel like you have the best version. Respect for diversity of others. I believe that everyone is made in God's image and is deserving of respect and love. As a person of color, this is something I try to uphold every day in my career. Um, a lot of my students have difficult lives, and a lot of the times I feel like um they might feel like they're not as important in society, but if we're able to teach them that they should respect themselves and they should respect others, I feel like that might make a difference in their lives. Fairness, I believe that I try to build positive relationships with my students and their families, and I work hard to get to know all of my students. Um, Professional conduct, I try to carry myself in a professional manner in every aspect of my life, not just in the classroom. Um, I'm curious. I love teaching. One of the things that I love to do is teach history. Social studies is my favorite subject. And with history, I love having my students wonder and ask questions about the world, what's happening, especially questioning what why something might be written in a certain point of view and what the other side might be thinking. Um, and I feel like doing that, especially with history, it creates critical, it enforces and it creates critical thinking skills that a lot of students and a lot of people need to have in this world, so that they can become great adults and people that stand up for what they believe is right, stand up for others. Um, Advocacy, and I feel like curiosity goes with advocacy. I try to always advocate for my students and finding different ways to support them. For example, especially in this digital world, we need headphones, we need tablets, and a lot of my students with disabilities might have print-based disabilities, so they might need the text read to them. So having a device that can read the text read, can read the text to them, or having a device in which they can talk and speech to text, so they can, instead of typing it up, they can speak their answers to the device and it could type it for them. I feel like that's something that can be very helpful to a lot of my students who might have difficulty writing and typing, but they can articulate their answers, their responses. I'm dedicated to my craft. I don't think that teaching is a simple job. It's a calling and you should love what you do. And I love what I do, which is why I'm in this master's program. Honesty, I promote honesty with my students. And one of the ways that I feel like I promote it and I stand by this is like, if they ask me a question and for whatever reason I don't know the answer to it, I'm not afraid to tell them like, hey, I'm not sure what it is. Let's look it up. Let's look up the answer. And we find the answers together. And I feel like as the adult in the room, being able to admit, oh, I don't know this, but we can figure it out together, is something very important, because it shows them that even though um I'm the adult in the room, I there are still things that I can still learn, and we're all still learning together. Um, some dispositions that I still need to work on are reflection and compassion. So in reflection, I'm still working. I believe that with reflection comes vulnerability, to ask for help or support. So as I reflect, I know that's a lot of the times it's hard for me to ask for help from others. And I feel that I need to work on my confidence to ask for support in the classroom. So sometimes I might get nervous. I do get nervous and I might get embarrassed to ask for help, because I might feel like, oh, they're gonna make fun of me. And thinking like that, I know that my students might feel the same way about asking for help. So I want to be a model, a role model, and say like, hey, even adults need help, and it's okay to ask for help when you need it. So that's something that I'm working on. And compassion, I'm still working on compassion on myself. Sometimes we can be our